Entrepreneurs are so busy. There's so many things to do. And I know as a real estate investor, uh, we make our money when we actually have conversations with sellers to buy houses. But all of the other things that have to be done, all of the little routine things that have to be done every day, they have to be done by us or somebody. So who do we get to do them? Well, the best way to take those tasks off of you and free you up to do the things that really make money is to hire VA. And that can be a little bit scary for people, especially people who've never done it before. So we're going to try to help you with that process today on the Sub2Deals Show. Hey there, Sub2ers. I'd like to welcome you to this episode of the Sub2Deals Show, where we talk about all things subject to and creative finance. Today, we are actually going to talk about VAs, how to find them, how to hire them and train them, and their best use in your real estate investing business. You know, as I said in the opening, your best time spent is time talking to sellers, negotiating deals, getting those things under contract, getting them closed. And I know a lot of you guys out there may use acquisitionist and dispositionist, and all of those people do all those things. We're still pretty hands-on with that. Finding the deal is actually our favorite part. It's what we like to do. And so we like to spend most of our time doing that. But we're a lot like every other investor out there. You get bogged down in the details. You know, the busy work is what we actually call it. So our guest today is going to talk about all the things you can do to find, hire, and train VAs to help you take care of that part. So we've got Alie Murphy here. Alie, welcome to the Sub2Deals Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. Alie and her husband Corey are investors in the Virginia market. I think they may buy all over, probably do, certainly capable of doing that. In addition to investing on their own, she also runs a disposition business where she moves dozens of properties every month for other investors. But I'm not going to try to tell you all about her. Best person to do that is Alie. So Alie, again, welcome to the show. Introduce yourself. Tell us all about you and what you do.
Thank you. Uh-oh. I think I just dropped my... So sorry.
That's okay.
I think I pulled my camera off of my computer.
I've got an expert editor who can probably cut that
okay,
all
that's
out.
what I was meant to ask you if
Sure.
this was live,
Let's
so
just
I
pick it up.
apologize.
Okay.
So my husband Corey is an appraiser, which is what kind of got us into real estate investing. He just appraises in the Richmond area, but I started doing dispositions privately for a couple investors. And I did that for a couple years, and we decided, why don't we see if this would benefit other investors as well. So we took it live, and we've learned a lot, and we've hired and fired and trained and built a really good team. I guess just building a system that will work, that can plug into any investor's team to be able to dispose of their properties and handle all their transaction tasks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So and I know I've had VAs off and on for short periods of time for different, typically, it was one-off tasks or things like that. Things you hire people on Fiverr to do for you, do a couple of these things for me, a couple of those things. But as far as permanent employees and that kind of thing, Before I didn't have the best luck in the past trying to hire those out. So when I heard that you guys had, and how many VAs do you guys employ right now?
We have 10.
10. Okay, so I was really impressed with that, and that's what got me into talking to you. Now, Alie and Corey are both Sub2 Max students as well, but I didn't know how heavily they relied on VA. So when I found her right there in the group, and when we something led to that conversation, I said, "Gosh, I've got to talk to her about this because we desperately need to have a few people doing some stuff for us." So you guys have 10 doing a whole bunch of different things for you. Did you start out with just one, or did you hire a bunch of them out of the gate, or how did you guys do that?
So we started with one,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went to none,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went back to one, and from there, our business kind of grew pretty fast, and so we realized that we needed to fill some gaps. One person just couldn't handle it all,
Right.
and so it kind of grew pretty rapidly from there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I think we went from 3 to 7 within 2 weeks, and then
Right. Mm-hmm. So you guys have been using VAs regularly for how long now?
Probably 6 years.
6 years. Okay. So and I think this will be the most beneficial thing. Sometimes when you've been doing something for a long time and you're really good at it, you forget what it was like when you first got started. And I know some people listening to this podcast may be experienced investors that have used VAs for years, and that's great. But let's gear this a little bit more toward the investor that is just starting. Maybe they've just gotten the budget to really hire someone, or they're just realizing they just desperately need somebody, so they're wanting to get started right now. So let's try to gear this toward the person that hasn't hired a VA yet, and what they're going through at this particular time. So if I'm new and I want to hire a VA and train a VA, now I know there are services out there where you can hire them that are already supposed to be completely trained for real estate investors. As investors and entrepreneurs, we tend to be control freaks. So I decided not to go that route. I wanted to hire someone that had a little bit of experience in the area that I was looking for. So, for example, our cold caller advertised himself as a cold caller. So, and I interviewed him along those lines. So, you use a dollar? Do you do manual? What's your process? Do you have a script? Will you use hours? I want, you call my list X number of times. I want the calls recorded. I want access to that and all of those things. So, but if I'm just getting started and I want to hire a VA, where is the best place, in your opinion, to go and find a VA if you want to hire yourself?
So I'm always going to say referrals.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with referrals is you have to find someone who is willing to give someone up, or that is willing to share. A lot of times, like for me, I will say 8 of our VAs came from like a VA we already have, and they knew someone that was looking for a job that could do the things that we were needing done.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing, and this causes so much frustration for people, and actually, then VAs get a bad rap when you hire someone who isn't experienced in the field that you're looking for. You hire someone thinking that you're going to train them,
Mm-hmm.
and your training is not good training. It's inadequate for what they need. And then you are upset with them, and then you say VAs are no good. VAs don't work for me. I can't deal with VAs.
Right.
Number one, when you're hiring, you need to have a script.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say a script, you need them to read through what you want them to do on screen. For me, when I hire, they have to speak fluent English. And when I say fluent, I mean with almost zero accent.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I know that the biggest frustration for me is trying to understand someone.
Mm-hmm.
That we can't communicate properly because we don't understand each other. It's nothing against them. I actually had an amazing VA that he was very loyal and did everything I wanted him to do, except we did not communicate properly because he couldn't understand me all the way. He thought he could. He thought he'd be like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But then when it came down to it, the tasks weren't getting done like I needed because he didn't understand me. And honestly, I didn't understand him. I couldn't, I couldn't read through the accent. So if that's a problem for you, if you have a problem when people are cold calling you and they have an accent, do not hire someone with an accent.
Right.
It will not work. And it's nothing against people with accents. It's your business. So, I mean, you really have to think to the future if you'll be able to work with someone who you're going to have to repeat yourself over and over again.
Right.
And even some of my VAs who speak, I mean, you would never know they were from the Philippines. Their translation is very different sometimes. And I have to even repeat myself or clarify things regularly because, hiring a VA or someone from another country, the way they feel, their emotions, the way they express themselves is different than how we are in America, period.
Right.
So I highly recommend hiring someone, number one, that's going to fit you. So if that's someone without an accent, if that's someone who speaks completely fluent English, that's what you need to do. If you don't care about that, then it doesn't matter. Then hire the person that's just experienced in the field that you need them experienced in.
Right.
So the reason you hire someone is so you don't have to do the job.
Right.
So if you want that to happen on day one, then you need to hire someone that's experienced in that field. If you don't mind taking the time and training them and getting them, well versed and what if you have the time to do that, then hire someone that you can train. You might be able to pay a little bit less for that person as well. So you just have to figure out what's important to you and what do you want tomorrow? What do you want done tomorrow? How do you want your day to look like tomorrow?
Right. Okay. So I understand totally what you're talking about on the referral side. And I agree, referrals are always best for any service you're looking for or whatever.
Definitely.
But I also agree with what you said that if someone gets a really good VA that is right on top of things, that is just that perfect VA that makes recommendations based on their experience to things you can do better, even than the way you want it done, that is easy to understand, that shows up for work every day, that is affordable. They don't like to share that. So because they're afraid that, you're not, if they share it, then their VA is not going to have enough time for them and things like that. So let's assume for a minute that I can't find anybody to give me a referral. Where would be your next best option to go to hire?
So Fiverr is good, right? You can read, I like places you can read reviews. In fact, I just hired someone off of Fiverr to do some IT work for me.
Right.
I will go back to the something that's very important to me as someone without an accent. Everyone on there is going to say they're fluent in English.
Right.
So that's the only thing if that's important to you, you need to have a conversation with them on a Zoom call or the phone.
Right.
That's I'll say that number one. Everyone's going to say they're fluent in English.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's easy to find out.
Yep, absolutely.
It's really easy to do. So, okay. And I would agree with you on the Fiverr thing. And I just say this based on my experience for the last several months. I hired a web guy about, 4 years ago now, who has been just fantastic. He's just always been the best. And, we work off of Fiverr now. I mean, I contact him and when I need web work and he does it for me. But the last two VAs we've hired have been off of Fiverr. But what I stopped doing was just looking for people. I would just go in and post. I can't remember what they call it now, but if you have a Fiverr account, you can post a job that you need filled. And then they will respond to you based on your criteria. And so if you're careful in how you write those things, this is what I've found. Don't contact me unless you have read the entire job description and can fulfill all of these tasks and meet all these criteria. And you'll still get some people that'll come through totally unrelated to what you're wanting, but then you just filter based on that. And the last 2 times we did that, it's worked out very well. We got a really good cold caller, and we also got just a general VA. So I would agree with Fiverr. We tried Upwork several times and in-depth conversations with these people and everything else, and none of them worked out for the long term.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's not really one platform versus another. It's just you probably got lucky on Fiverr and you didn't on Upwork, because it's basically the same people.
Right.
I have a friend who works through Upwork and she loves it. She wouldn't go anywhere else. So, I mean, I've never hired off of Upwork, but she runs her whole business. She has a huge team that works off of Upwork. So.
Right. What is your opinion on, I don't know if you've ever used these people, what is your opinion on these services? And there's several now that hire VAs. They said, if you want a fully trained VA, we can provide those for you. And they're trained exclusively for real estate investors. You need a cold caller, we can do it. You need somebody that can use this CRM, we've got them. I mean, just everything A to Z. What do you think about those services?
I think it's a 50-50 shot. So I think I'm going back to referrals on this one.
Okay.
I think if I have 2 companies who I know that are amazing that I would definitely refer out to every time. But then I know there's some that are not legit companies.
Right.
So
gotcha.
I think it's the same, you either hire on Fiverr or you hire a company that you have to interview. You're going to have to interview either way,
Right. Gotcha. Okay. So once you've found this perfect VA that you really like a bunch, in your opinion, what is the best way to train them? I mean, I'm assuming you're not hiring one from a service. Even if you hired one from a service that's fully trained, you're going to have some little nuances. So you're going to train anyone that you hire. That's my opinion on it. Yeah. But what's the best way to do that?
So for your first VA, what I would do is take a week and right before you hire anyone, take a week and write down every time you are working throughout the day, make a note of what you're doing. At the end of the day, beside all the notes that you've made, beside it, make a star. And that star is what you need to get rid of in your day and hand off. Right. So by the end of the week, you have a list of things that you want your VA doing. And then after that, you're going to come up with processes of how they need to do it. Your logins. If you want them managing your email, they need your email login and how to respond to people. You just need to be very clear with them. But before you hire, make sure you have this to hand over to them. You need this book to be able to say, here you go, this is what you need to do. And then let them ask you questions about it. Let them work through that book and just like logging in. Okay, I'm logged in. Who is this person? There's going to be a lot of that if you're handing over your email until you get them seasoned in your email.
Right. Okay.
But yes, a book is a good thing, like a digital book. That way they can go through it and then they can make notes. They can highlight if they have a question about something or they don't understand. And then y'all meet for 15 minutes every day, which should be done even after they're trained. 15 minutes every day. And what my assistant does, who manages everyone, she makes everyone send over an end of the day overview of what everyone's done at the end of the day.
Right. Gotcha. What we did, and I'm just giving a different perspective here for people. I mean, you're the expert. You've got 10. We've got a couple. But what we did different this time was we set up a management sort of, and I know there's several different ones. We use Trello, and we set up a board for the VA that does just the admin sort of stuff. And we started out when we hired him and said, okay, you're going to work, 3 hours a day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And these are the tasks we want you to do. And we put tasks out on the Trello board for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a couple of different things. And of course, in the description, we put attached a video of us doing the task, explaining all through the way how it was done. And then he could go through there, see each one, say, yes, I understand this. No, I have questions. Now, I know you use a different type of thing to do.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So you had brought up Monday, didn't you?
Right.
Like a couple, yes. I had someone that's up Monday because I didn't realize you can use it as a CRM. As far as you can email, text, and call through it. Did you know that?
Through Trello?
Through Monday.
Oh, no.
Monday.com.
No.
Yeah. So, anyway, so I had somebody set our whole CRM up through Monday.com, and we can do that now. We were using Asana. It was not, I actually like the look better in Asana, but Asana wasn't as efficient because, first of all, we couldn't do any client communications through Asana, but you could like tag someone if you had a question about something. All of that, you had all your team collaboration through there. You just couldn't keep all, like we have all of our properties now in Monday, and you can have separate portals for your clients or whoever. So anyways, we use Monday, and it will email them and send them a message, and the little thing will come up in their inbox that they have a message, and that has been working amazing.
You know, and that's the thing about it. If you say, whether you take Asana, because I know we talked about this before, and you said we use this one, I said, well, we use that one. There's so many of these things that do pretty much the same thing, maybe in a little bit different way. They've got a little bit different interface or whatever. And you're like, gosh, you know, I'm just using this one because I don't have X hours to research every one and go, oh, this one's cool. Oh, that one's cool. You just get one and stick with it. But the bottom line here is just like everything else, guys. Just do something. Okay.
You can build from there.
Most of these, I don't know. Asana probably does. Monday, I believe, does, because I've heard of it. I don't know. I researched so much of this stuff. Trello has a free version where you get like 10 boards, which may be enough for pretty much all you'll ever do. I don't know. You have to make that decision, but to get all the features. But just pick something and get started using it. The bottom line here is, if I want to have a VA, I can take a tool like Trello. I can give them instructions, break it down day by day, attach videos of the task, communicate with them. It sends them a message, you know, just a little ampersand with their name when I've uploaded something new, and then add jobs. As he is very proficient at those things, we've started adding jobs. And what we've got is now we've got a board in there, or a card, that have future tasks, and he can see it. He knows what we're going to assign him in the future when he gets these down. Okay, now you've got this new assignment that you'll do on Mondays. It's going to add 2 hours a week to your income. Okay. But when we get these all nailed down, we're going to drag that over. And then that's a new job that he'll get to do.
I love that. That's great.
So we really like that. Like I said, just giving him that he sees all these jobs we have for him in the future. And when we hired him for 9 hours a week, we said, we're going to get this up to about 30 hours a week by March. Okay. So he knows we're working toward that. So if he wants to work, then, you know, he's going to have plenty of hours.
Is he working for anyone else, or are you his only employer?
He does other work, I think, on the side, you know, a task here, a task there. But as far as people that pay him regularly, we're the only ones.
Okay.
In total disclosure here, he was new on Fiverr, and he was from Nigeria. And listen, you know, you can be a great worker from anywhere, but when Nigeria just has that association with the $1 million, you know, email from the prince. In fact, we were joking on our first Zoom call. I said, "You're not a prince, are you?" You know, and he was laughing. I mean, he's Americanized enough. He has a pretty good sense of humor about American things, fortunately.
Yeah.
But that's important to me and the person that I work with.
Right.
Jody says I tend to be what's the term, uptight or something. So I need somebody that I can, you know, try to loosen up with a little bit, I guess. But he laugh. He does have a good sense of humor about things. So we can joke with him about Nigeria, which was cool, you know, and all that. You know, he was a little bit different than most we worked for in the past. So he wants to stay on Fiverr, and I think he wants to do that because, of course, we rate him after every week. He sends us an invoice with you know, how many hours he's going to work, And then at the end of the week, we pay it. And of course, then we rate him. So he's got a lot of really good ratings now. They're all from us, pretty much. But I think that's why he wanted to stay there. So it's cool. Okay. So back on the topic of training, one thing we've learned through time is that, and something you mentioned earlier too, is doing those videos. When you do that task, get on Loom or whatever your little video thing that you use is, your app, and record yourself doing it, but talking through the whole thing. Now we're doing this, now we're doing that, and this is why. Because why is important, don't you think?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And it's important that they can see you doing it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And two, even though you may do these tasks and they're boring or whatever, it can be a reminder to you how long it takes to do them. Mm-hmm. So if it takes me 15 minutes to perform this task 3 times a week, but he bills me for 5 hours doing the same task, then I know there's a problem. Okay, that we need to talk about. Time. Right. Because time's important. I agree. We've seen him, and that's why we're starting to assign him more, because the things that we assigned him in the beginning to do for 9 hours, he's now doing in 4.5 and 5 hours. So he's gotten better. He's gotten faster. He knows the routine. So now, did
it frustrate you at first?
No, because we budgeted for that amount.
Okay.
And we just said if it takes him, we know there's a learning curve. The important thing to us was to hire somebody that was capable, that was willing to be trained, that wanted to work, and and just go from there. We wanted somebody long term.
Right.
So that's the next fear in VAs, is that you rely on somebody so heavily to do so many things, and life changes. They get a girlfriend, or they get married, or they have a baby, or they win a scratch off ticket, or something, and they don't have to do this anymore. And then they go, you know what, I'm out of here. And then all of a sudden you got to do all that stuff again. What are your thoughts on, I've got 40 hours a week worth of VA work. Do I split that 15 hours a week among 3 people, or do I really like Sam? He's great. He wants full time. Give him 40 hours a week. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so would he be your only VA if you did that?
No, he would not be. But I guess what I'm getting to is, my cold calling VA is purely for cold calling. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've never talked to him about videoing or anything else. But if the VA I have right now is great at social media posting, he's with graphics, but that can be improved upon. And he can do some emailing and some other stuff for me. And I've got 40 hours a week for him, and then he ghosts me. Then I've got to do all of that stuff again. If I break those jobs up among 3 people and one of them ghosts me, then I'm only back to doing a few things.
So we had this problem.
Mm-hmm.
We got ghosted on some really big things.
Mm-hmm.
And what my assistant has done now is everyone has created training videos.
Mm-hmm. And
if they decide not to show up tomorrow, or they get sick, or something happens, somebody can pick those videos up and go do their job.
Okay.
Super important.
But that's from a stable of 10 VAs too. So you just slide, Beth over into, and she picks up, a few hours from where this other person
that's true.
was. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
But so, I mean, even for you, if you are only working with one VA and you are mm-hmm. depending on them, because that was me. I mm-hmm. had one VA that I was mm-hmm. super dependent on, and I got ghosted. Right. And that was really bad. Mm-hmm. And so if I had her, I put all my eggs in one basket. And if I had mm-hmm. her, do the videos for me and her processes and what she was doing every day when she was doing it, I could have just handed that off to someone else. Mm-hmm. Even if it wasn't going to be my person, if I just hired someone, temporarily until I found my person, right. At least I had that to where I could just hand off, and they would ask me questions. Yes, because there's nothing you can absolutely do, a full training on and nobody have questions for,
Right.
but at least they would have something to go by. And
Right.
that's what we have in place now. If
Mm-hmm.
we have now, we have people, we have backups in every division,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't before. So
Right.
we had to be able to train someone from another division to come over to this division if
Mm-hmm.
someone didn't show up.
Okay.
So it worked out really well
Right.
for her to make sure we had the training videos and processes in place in case that was to happen, because it's going to happen. It's not
Right.
an in case, and her biggest thing is, what if something happens to me, talking about
Mm-hmm.
her?
Mm-hmm.
And I was literally like, I have no idea.
Right.
And she was like, well, we need to fix that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Guys, I hope y'all are paying attention here. You are benefited, and I can tell you just on my end, from hours and hours of frustration and trying to get this thing right. And obviously, Allie's got 10, so she's been doing this for 6 years. So, you're hearing about all the things that we went through to get to these tips that we're sharing with you today on some best practices for sure. So we appreciate you bringing that for us today. Guys, we're going to take a quick break and let you guys hear about Big Insurance. Jason and Corey at Big Insurance. If you're a landlord, a rehabber, a buy and hold real estate investor, doesn't matter. Jason and Corey have a fantastic product, and I can just about guarantee you they can insure your property for less than you're paying right now. So give those guys a call. We're going to be back in just a minute. So just check out this word from Big Insurance. Birmingham Insurance Group is a full-service property and casualty insurance agency laser-focused on risk management solutions in the single-family residential space. Their master policy program is available in all 50 states and was designed by investors for investors. It provides tailored coverage and competitive premiums, specially for real estate investors, owners, and property managers. Give Jason or Corey a call today at 205-682-8856 or visit them at their website, bhaminsgroup.com. That's BHAMINSGROUP.com. Hey guys, we're back. Check out Big Insurance. I'm telling you, I've been amazed. Every property we've gone over there and got a quote from them, they have slashed the price of that insurance.
I agree.
They're amazing. And you can insure your, listen, Sub2 stuff doesn't matter. We've trained them on that. Okay. We train these guys for you on how to handle Sub2. So they're not going to ask a bunch of stupid questions like some insurance companies will. So give those guys a call. bhaminsgroup.com. They are fantastic. Good people too. So we're back with Alie talking about VAs. So, okay, we've screened VAs. We're familiar with best practices to hire them now. What, in your opinion, I know about the list and the task you want to get rid of, but in your opinion, in your experience, for the average real estate investor, the best jobs to throw on a VA right away so you don't have to do it anymore? Social
media, number one. Oh, that is a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot. So we have a calendar that we follow, and we meet on that. I say we meet on it every week, but now we've got it down pretty good to where we can meet on it maybe every other week. And honestly, we just add stuff to it if we think of something, we just add it to the calendar. And then if it's something we need to talk about, then we, put a thing beside it that says meet about it. And then we meet about it at our next meeting. If not, then that just goes on to social media. Right. So we do Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. I think that, and then
is Pinterest still a thing?
Oh, Pinterest is big.
Really? Because
Pinterest is big.
I got so lucky. Several years ago, I went out and got all of the user. We call it a username. What is it? Your handle or yeah?
I think it's a username, but I don't. Yeah,
inept. I don't know. But I got Sub2Deals for everything. I mean, it was fantastic. I didn't have to change anything. But we don't do anything on Pinterest. I've got that account sitting there. All we do is Instagram, a tiny bit of Twitter, and Facebook.
I highly recommend Pinterest.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
Yes.
Make a note of
Pinterest,
that.
Facebook, Instagram. So we went off Pinterest for a little while too.
Mhm.
And it does take a little while to get the algorithm right on Pinterest. But I recommend it.
Mhm.
Definitely.
So when you say VA should be doing something for you on social media, are you talking about marketing to buy properties, marketing to sell properties? Give me an example of what you're talking about, something you could assign a VA to do right away.
So for the marketing,
Mhm,
I have somebody who strictly does all of our Canva
mhm,
content. So
mhm,
our Canva, our property content and our business marketing content.
mhm,
We also have someone that only handles our content that's in Spanish. And she also does the marketing. She does everything, including the follow up and the calls for
mhm.
our Hispanic communities.
Okay,
Um, so obviously I handed that off because I don't speak Spanish, which I really need to learn that.
right.
Um, so for the so we have someone who creates the content. We have a team that actually handles pushing the content out and responding to comments and messages coming in. We just moved over to a social media manager.
Mhm,
We were actually using one. We've been using one for probably 6 or 7 years now, but we've actually moved everything over to the manager now. So we
mhm.
aren't managing profiles individually. We're managing everything in one place now. So
Oh,
to add on to that, before I was having to hire one person for every 10 properties that we got, and now I only need a few people to handle. I can get 500 properties because
mhm.
it's all handled in one place.
Gotcha. And that's that posting feature you were telling me about in Canva.
You can
I'm still
so we don't use Canva for that now, except for
right.
well, we use it for our groups, but
I
that's
got
it,
you.
not for pages and all.
Okay, I got you. Okay. So social media, and then what would be the next, would you think, most important thing a VA can do for you to take a lot of work off of you in real estate?
Emails.
Hmm.
Emails. I have my inbox has 200 plus emails a day. Every day
Hmm.
I open it and I clear it out every single night.
Right.
So, emails is really important because follow up is really important.
Hmm.
And even though I have a really great team and they are on it.
Hmm.
If I commit to say, just for instance, if I tell the team, "Hey, I'll take care of this person today," and then I get busy and I don't take care of them, whose fault is that?
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I actually run into that
Hmm.
where my team would not have let that person slip through the cracks.
Hmm.
But because, I had the squirrel run by me,
Right.
all of a sudden that person wasn't taken care of. So anyway, so my problem is also as a business owner is I will try to take over things. And so if I would have just let that person, my team handle that person, they would have been taken care of. So
Hmm.
think about that when you're, running your business, because there are things you hire people to do so you don't have to do it. And
Hmm.
so you can chase the squirrels around and you
Right.
can go after the ideas and see if the ideas that you do come up with are worth following
Hmm.
instead of answering emails and follow up.
Hmm. Right. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So now, once they're working for you, how do you track their work or monitor what they do? I mean, I know there are a bunch of programs out there. Clockify, I think, is one of them. And then if you hire people, I think from Upwork, they have some kind of screen capture thing. How are you sure that your new VA Joe isn't surfing the web and looking at Facebook all day long when he's supposed to be doing things for you? How do you monitor that?
So we were using Asana, and like I was saying before, that it wasn't as efficient to be able to say, it didn't have a timer on it. So
Mhm,
Monday.com has a timer. So when
mhm,
I put a task in there, I can start the timer and it tells me how long it's taken for this person to get to it and complete it.
mhm,
Um, Once it's completed, I know it lets me know.
mhm. Okay.
So if I need to, I can go in and check it to see if it was done. Um,
Right.
but the timer is really good. And also when I put a task in, you can set up all kinds of automations, but when I put a task in, it says the date I put it in, and then the timer starts.
Okay.
That's
Well,
also know then if they've gotten on or not.
right. I'll share a tip that we did with our latest VAs that worked out really well. They were totally open to it. I think it was helpful to them too. If you got a Zoom account, and everybody pretty much does now, just have them. One of the questions when we hired them was, we're in X time zone. What hours are you available to work in our time zone? Okay. So we'll know if, they're going to be available to us while we're up, because a lot of these people are on the opposite side of the world. My 3 VAs right now, 2 are in India, 1 is in Nigeria, of course. So they're, anywhere from 8.5 to 12 hours. I mean, just completely flipped. And what we did was we had them log into Zoom. We gave them login information and a meeting scheduled. They logged into Zoom, and if it was during regular work hours, we just turned on the meeting while we were working. So while they were working on their projects and getting going, if they had a question, they could ask us. It was like they just had a desk in our office, basically.
I love that idea.
If it's going to be hours that you're not available, just have them record the meeting and screen share, and you see everything they're doing, and then you can look at it later. It was really helpful with our cold caller before, because I could listen to him before we ever got recordings back the first day. So I knew.
I love that. That's a great idea, especially with cold callers.
Objections, the whole bit. And if there was a problem or something I didn't like, as soon as he hung up, I could say, "Hey, don't do that." All right.
Great idea.
This is how you want to go into that. So if you've got a Zoom account, it doesn't cost you anything. It's just another way to use it. So give that a shot and see how it works for you. Okay, Alie, help us out with this. Now, just off the top of your head, I'm a newer investor. I'm hiring my first VA. You got like a few pointer quick start sort of guide that you could give me to getting started? Go here and do this, go here and do this next, do this next, that you could give somebody to help them out with that?
So I can actually I have a detailed list for this, but just to kind of speak through it a little bit or talk through it, so if this is not a referral or a referred VA, you're going to go to Fiverr. I like your idea about posting a job. And honestly, I would probably not agree completely with it, except, and let me tell you why first, because usually if people are looking for jobs, it's because they're not maybe highly desired.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But actually, I did have someone reach out to me for this big job that we're doing, and they're amazing. So it works. That does work. So go on Fiverr. You're gonna have to sift through a lot of people, but you can usually tell by just messaging with them if they're fluent in English. So that, like I said, that's a big thing for me.
Right.
Always be kind to them, though. They really want to work and they want to be loyal to somebody. So just be very nice to them. If they're not going to work out for you, just let them know in a really nice way and move on. Once you find the VA that you're looking for or that you think is a good candidate, you're going to give them a script to read to you on Zoom. I love Zoom calling with everyone because you can see them. I want to see them, and then you can listen to them. For me, I like my VAs to be able to talk to people if it's necessary. Now, it might not be in their job description, like my person who's creating marketing content. It's not in her job description, but I need her to be able to if that's what she's got to step up and do. So they're going to read you their script. There's going to be issues in your script. There might be some spelling errors. There may be some sentences that just don't make sense. You're going to need them to pull that out for you because you're hiring people to look through contracts for you.
Right.
You're hiring people to look through business documents for you. That's very important that they can pull out just spelling errors and sentences that don't make sense. So they're going to pass, say you're going to find someone, they're going to pass that. Once they pass that, y'all agree on what you want to pay them. I highly recommend looking up what minimum wage is in whatever country that you're hiring in, because for anyone, Americans would do the same thing. We're all human. They look at us and think that we have a lot of money, and they're going to charge us a lot more than what a normal going rate would be. So
Right.
just keep that in mind, that we all need to be fair to each other as humans, no matter where we're coming from.
Right.
So once you hire them, make sure you have your guide for them to hand over to them. Let them read through it. Make sure it's digital, because they can go in and highlight it, and they can highlight it in real time. So you can actually be going through the guide with them while they're highlighting things, if you want.
Right.
Or they can do it on their time overnight, which is, a lot of countries is during the day here, and night, either way. So you can look at it the next day and address their issues. You can see what they've highlighted. Y'all can meet about it, which I highly recommend, and work through those issues. If you have that guidebook, you can have someone trained in a week from start to finish.
Right. Okay. Great. Okay. Now, you said you had a checklist. Is that something you want to share with everybody?
Sure.
Or,
yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll get, is that downloadable, or there's a page they can go to and get it?
It'll be a download.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll just share that in the show notes. So
Okay.
you guys can see that. You can click on it and go check Alie out, and she'll give you guys a checklist for hiring your first VA. So great. That's super. All right. Any final tips for anybody? Or I know, and I also want you, Alie, to tell everybody, you run that disposition business where you get rid of properties for investors all over the country. Tell everybody a little bit about that too, and how they can reach you. We'll put that in the show notes as well. If you've got a property you need to move, give Alie a call, and she can blast it all. She can put those 10 VAs to work getting rid of your property for you. Tell us about that.
So we do dispositions. So you would just send us your properties as soon as you have it under contract, or if you own it already and you just want to sell it, you would just send it over to us. We can also list on the MLS if you own it. You can send it over to us. We will do all the marketing for it, and we'll find your buyer, and then we'll do all the transaction side of it too.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So you guys will handle everything. So literally, once I get a house under contract, I can just call you up, and I'm kind of done with it, I guess. I have to close on it, but you can have me a buyer and have me all ready to go. Man, that's fantastic.
Yes, we'll handle everything through closing as well.
Okay, awesome. All right. So everybody, we'll have, like I said, a link to the download, the checklist, and also information where you can contact Alie about selling your houses for you. It's fantastic. Okay, man, that was fantastic, Alie. A lot of really good information on how to hire and train and use VA in your business. There's a bunch of us out there that really need to do it. I hesitated for years because I'm a control freak, as my wife will tell you, and I like to be in charge of everything.
Me too.
She graciously allows me to think that I'm in charge of everything, but we all know how that works. So anyway, okay. Well, I guess it was great having you here and talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
You're going to be a guest on Go Talk. If you guys aren't checking us out on Go Talk, we do that Facebook Live every Thursday morning. She's going to come on for a couple of episodes and go into some detail on some things with VAs. So we're really looking forward to that. So, okay, Alie, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing your info. Okay, great. Okay, guys, that is it for this episode of the Sub2Deals Show. You can get more information. You can listen to this show. Of course, we're all over Google Play and Stitcher and just everywhere else you listen to podcasts. You can listen to that just about everywhere. You can also watch our podcast on our YouTube channel. So get over there and do that if you're interested. So until next time, keep talking to sellers and buy some houses.